I've been doing a lot of encoding lately, especially at 8K, and it got me wondering, what is the upper limit and lower limit for resolution with each codec? So if we look at levels, and that's a standard of specified sets of constraints that indicate a degree of required decoder performance for a profile. That you see 1 through 6.2 with H.264 and H.265. And so according to that, and that's for decoder specification, or in other words, what a player, especially a hardware player, can actually successfully play. Level 1 is 120 by 96 pixels at 30 frames per second. So that's the lowest resolution it will go. And then on the higher end, 6.2, it goes up to 4K at 300 frames per second or 8K at 120 frames per second. And that's exactly the same for H.265. I wondered though, what would be the actual limit in an application like Handbrake? So I tried it out. And it turns out, I'm not sure why this resolution is the upper maximum. I don't know if it's the encoder specification or just a limit from Handbrake itself, but I could go all the way up to 20,480 by 20,480. And that worked both in x265 8-bit and 10-bit. And not only did it successfully encode, you could actually play it. And I played it back uh, successfully, though, with a lot of dropped frames with this M2 Ultra Max Studio. Now, X264 failed in 8-bit and 10-bit, and unsurprisingly, the Video Toolbox HEVC and H.264 encoders couldn't do it because they have a very limited specific range of frame rates and resolutions they support, since that is hardware encoding and decoding. And then finally, I tried AV1 8-bit and 10-bit, and I thought that would have also an upper limit. But right now, 8-bit and 10-bit both failed with SVT AV1. And also keep in mind, this is with one of the Handbrake nightly builds from January 30th, 2024. You might say, okay, that may be interesting, but what's the practical use of knowing the upper limit in resolution of these codecs? Well, you're probably not going to use these non-standard resolutions, anything that deviates from HD, 4K, and 8K. But if you are in the live events industry or sort of the projection industry, you will encounter some really odd, especially extremely wide video aspect ratios and not very tall aspect ratios for multi-screen videos that are played from one file, but then broken up and split up to different screens via hardware splitters. So that actually might be a time when you'd be using these extremely high and extremely impractical at this moment resolutions.